TitleMatchNetwork.com.
I know I did something with Regal. I liked Regal.
Yeah.
And in the mid-'90s, mid-'90s, when I was doing the broadcasting, and Regal was there, and they had no idea what to do with this guy. At first, he was like a baby face from England. Who cares?
Right.
But he put that lip up and put on that He was great. I mean, talk about a guy. I mean, and all these people who think they're smarts and they know it all. In the mid-'80s, especially, everything's exposed. Everybody thinks they know it all. And here's Regal. He can strut out there, do his wrestling holds, and people hated his guts. He was like me the other day. He just stood there and got heat. And I saw that, and no one else knew what to do with him. So I said, look, I'm going to work the same thing I did with Bruno. Only I'm the retired commentator this time. So we just did a thing where I said, I'll do something with Regal. It was too much heat to waste. So I did a thing, where I was interviewing him, and then he pissed me off, so I left, and he got insulted, and I got insulted, and then it led to this match where we did like a 25-minute thing on TBS, which Brian Pillman was running around for 2 weeks. Oh my God, they went 25 minutes and they didn't even throw one clothesline. That was a clinic. But I could do it with Regal because Regal was good. He knew all the wrestling stuff.
Right.
So we had one of the best matches TBS ever put on, and we programmed it. The ratings went up in like end of May, which was the hardest sweeps week to get in the summer, and that was great. I love doing the stuff at Regal. Then I went back to the broadcasting. So about every 2 or 3 years, when the time was right, I'd come out, but that would keep your name big. You get the publicity from this, then you do this.
See, it's like you always want to know now because now you have the internet, so you always know what's going on behind the scenes. It's like it was a mystery then.
And back then, it was a machine. You knew what your place was. Bruno was here, and everybody else had their place. You knew what it was, so there was no jealousy. And there was no it wasn't like one guy's got a contract for $10 million and you're making $100, so there wasn't that big. The top guys were making more, but everybody was making a pretty good living.
Do you think with the younger guys, do you think that they don't protect the business, and that's one thing that really hurts the business?
Well,
or do you think it's just evolved? Everybody knows what it's all about.
The business has been so exposed, what you would translate into the word hurt, that you can't expose it anymore. But even when wrestling, 20, 30, 40 years ago, when people would go nuts, if you took someone aside and said, hey, look at this is real, they'd say, well, is it real?
Right.
But it was real to them for that hour. It was their fantasy. It was their getaway. It was their weekly television show where they could release their stuff, and they didn't want to know. And I just don't think the guys of today have any idea what to do because there's no one there to teach them or show them, and it's hard to understand what they're not doing when there's no way they can relate to what happens if they did do it because the audience is different. Even if they did today what we did 30 years ago, the audience reaction wouldn't be the same. So, but I'm still sticking to my guns. The more you kayfabe the audience, the more they're going to get into it because it's human nature. You have to let the imagination grow. People will imagine more shit than you can write. That's why you don't need writers. People will imagine what's going on behind those closed doors and make a big deal out of it. If you show them a skit where they see what's going on behind closed doors, two idiots trying to talk to each other badly, it blows their whole imagination. So now they got nothing to get emotional about, nothing to use their imagination for, and nothing to wonder about.
I think like Andy Crockett used to do that good. Like they'd have like Wyndham and the Horseman jump Dusty behind the door. He'd come out. You always think, what happened behind the scene? Now it's like the cameraman's everywhere.
Well, it's stupid. It's stupid. Yeah. I mean, when you click the Vinces, there's two married women pretending they're lesbians, sitting in a motel room, ready to make out, but they don't see the camera crew. Right. It just happens to be in the motel room.
That's stupid.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. The only good thing about it is it's been so stupid and so the way it is, it would be so different if you went back to the old psychology. You couldn't do it like that, but there's a lot you could do that would make the show much more entertaining to watch.
I guess what makes someone a good worker in your eyes?
Okay. A good worker is somebody, it's got nothing to do with bumps or moves or wrestling. It's somebody who can get the people to love them or hate them. That's a good worker. And the only way you're going to get people, the audience, to love you or hate you, if they don't, then in the middle they don't care. They got to love you or they got to hate you. And the only way you're going to become a good worker to do that is you're going to be able to give the people something to believe in. So you're going to have to believe in believability. You're going to only become a good worker if you believe in kayfabe, if you believe in unsmartening, if you believe in making it look and the programming like it's real. Now, too many of these guys, they'll spend hours going over spots. Instead of saying to themselves, okay, I'm this guy. What, if this was real, what would happen? Would I run out there and dance around like a chicken?
Right.
No. If you did this to me, I'd beat the shit out of you. So if you don't look at it like it's real and don't put it together like it's real, you'll never be a good worker. Because people will not love you or will not hate you. They just don't care.
What's the biggest piece of advice you can give for a success in this business?
Damn. You know, in my rightful mind, unless you're really a freak of nature, or, you know, it's an impossible question. I mean, you know, it's hard to look at a bunch of new guys and say, hey, in 10 years you're going to be like Austin, or you're going to be like Goldberg, or you're going to be able to, you know, talk like The Rock. You know, so you've got to try. But this business has gotten so ridiculously hard for guys to come in, learn, get a spot, and make money that I would not recommend it to anybody.
Right.
I would, you know, I mean, it's just hard. I mean, I see so many guys get, you know, crippled and hurt for no money, and I know that unless you're one of, you know, 1 in 10 million, you ain't gonna make it.
TitleMatchNetwork.com